We never got that far. In our most drunken moments, we've talked about all sorts of ideas, like a musical, you know. But never seriously did we sort of sit down and think about what the next one would be. Question over here.
So was it only one mask that was used in the original? Because I know in the sequels they used a bunch of different masks throughout the films.
You mean the
shape? Was it just one mask throughout the whole film?
You mean multiples of the shape mask? Yeah. I honestly don't remember how many, but it was at least 3 and no more than 5. Who else has a question? Right here.
This is a question for both of you. Do you have any props from the original movie?
Treasure troves of them, and we're saving them until, you know, the millions is what we're after. I have our trusty Sean Clark over there is the master of all of that, and once in a while I'll turn something up and I'll show it to him and ask him if it's, you know, is this something that's of any interest to anybody.
I tell him no, and then I take it. I had the original mask for probably a couple years at my house, and I had it on one of those styrofoam heads, and I just kind of mounted it like it was, you know, one of those things that you put on the wall that's a deer or a lion head. But I kept it like that for a long time. It was always a great curiosity piece. And then I remember Deborah Hill calling when they were going to do Halloween 2 and said, no one has the old mask. We can't even figure out how we made it or something like that. Do you have that? And I said, yeah. He said, I'll bring it right back after we did. Never got it back.
Right here.
This question's for Tommy. Do you think, how instrumental was the mask, do you think, to the success of the film? In other words, if you would have used the Emmett Kelly mask and everything else was intact, scene for scene, the musical score, all that stuff, do you think that the movie could have succeeded on the same level?
The quick answer is yes, I think it could have succeeded. Do I think it would have been as good? No. There was, when the masks were modeled, we went with Emmett Kelly first, and the jumpsuit, and whoever it was who came out of the bathroom with it on, it was like we immediately recognized that it was odd and strange and eerie. It's a clown. It's a Emmett Kelly mask, for those who don't know, is a sad sack sort of clown. It's a classic. Emmett Kelly was a clown with Barnum and Bailey for years and years and years. And he had a, you know, sad face and a little, you know, just a look. And well, that's eerie. And that theory, of course, was borne out later for me on It, where clowns are like, oh no, that's scary stuff. But a minute later, when the person went back in and put on the shape mask, what we now call the shape mask, and came out, I kid you not, the effect, it was electric. We looked at each other and went, oh, fuck me. It was the scariest thing. Viscerally, this doesn't need a story to be, you know, you could shoot about 10 minutes of that without even starting on your story. And you were surefire scared. So we knew we had something. We knew we were onto something. And I guess that's part of that 10% that we didn't fuck up. It was like, that was definitely going to be an asset for the movie. We knew that going in.
I had a question. At what point, after you had made the film and it was released, did you realize that you really had something here, like it was, the public had discovered it?
It came more slowly. We've been talking about it this weekend. It wasn't quick and instantaneous, and it didn't just go to the theaters and big smash hit. It was a kind of a rolling success that built gradually, and it was one of those movies. Nick commented today that with the restlessness and short attention span that is present in the movie business today, it might have never made it. It might have gotten dumped real early, because it took a while. I think it took several months for the wave to sort of start, and the word of mouth, and a couple of good reviews that were milestones for the movie. That all took time. It developed over time. When it was released, it was kind of ho-hum, and we all thought, well, we tried, and it was pretty good, and gee, that's that. And then it just kept building and kept building. It was very gradual.
Did it increase in the amount of screens? Like, did it start out, you know, like a
Oh.
small amount, and then it kept growing and growing?
Yeah, the you know, encouragement kind of breeds Irwin Yablans and the folks at what was then called Trancas. Compass. But I'm also talking about the Akkad people. They were involved in some way, weren't they?
There wasn't Trancas at that point.
They knew, they could see, you know, people who are in that end of the business, they're watching for every sign, and they were getting signs. They were getting theaters where people were like standing up in the seats screaming at the screen. They don't ignore signs like that. So they were slowly but surely building and starting to work patterns that would get some box office going.
I mean, do you remember when you first found that it had broken, like it had finally become as popular, you know? Like, was there a point, like, did you gradually find out little by little, or did it finally, did any one thing happen where you were like, wow, this has longevity?
As I recall, there was an extended review in maybe Time magazine, Village Voice. Eventually, there was a review that kind of legitimized the whole thing for us. That just said, "You guys are all out there. You know, there have been some pans of this movie. You guys are all full of shit. This is a great movie. It's a legitimate movie. It's a cool cultural experience, and it's changing everything." And it was like, whoa, we did that?
Okay, over here.